Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's I, Blue, here with another video for this month's $10,000 main event. That's right, the showdown. $10,000 will be on the line here for the October main event, and just like last month, there are sure to be some exciting matchups, and there are so many teams that have a legit chance at winning the championship this month. Just like I said last month, where a lot of teams were getting better, a lot of players were making improvements, that is also the case, but kind of doubled going into this month's main event. I mean, the first 3 weeks of qualifiers were awesome. They were very exciting to watch. Lots of new teams have formed, and then there's still those teams like Just Us and Right Turtle that have stuck around, although that might be changing. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but for this video, I figured we'd make it a little bit shorter, tighten everything up. I'm not going to spill my entire notebook out to everyone because I know the last video got pretty long and people were kind of aggravated about that, but I want to thank you for your support for watching that video. And also, there are a lot of people that have been hitting me up, not just today, but in the past couple days, coming into my stream like Fank did, saying, where's the predictions video? Where is it? So finally, it's here. Without further ado, let's get to it. And also, last thing I want to mention before we start, you can't really tell probably, but there's cormorants on my shirt, of course, you know. Sweet Moose is in this tournament with Canny, and who's that? Their best finish, or Canny's best finish especially, and his best performance in a 10K main event was when they were under the name Hefty Cormorant. So I went out and I bought a new dress shirt, short sleeve, but you know, I'm trying to show off the guns, and it's got little Hefty Cormorants all over, so maybe that'll give some luck to Canny and he won't get third place again. So we'll see how that goes. But let's talk about the tournament here. Let's get into it as I slip off screen for you. Let's take a look at our teams, the standings, of course. Now remember, top 6 teams, or the top 6 seeds, were teams that made it to the finals of a qualifier. So the number 1 seed, of course, Justice Roco, they ended up winning qualifier number 1, so they will be your number 1 seed. Your number 2 seed is Gaming Gorillas. They made it to the finals against Justice, but fell just short, got second place in that first qualifier, which means they will be the 2nd seed. And then, of course, in the second week of qualifiers, we had Brave Penguin beat out Sweet Moose, so of course they get the 3 and 4 seeds respectively. And then Right Turtle went up against Gotti the OG, which actually that finals match didn't happen. Somebody from Gotti the OG, I believe, had to leave or had to just go somewhere, do something, you know, had other priorities in real life. So they ended up forfeiting that match, which gives Right Turtle the victory, of course, so they will get the number 5 seed. And just so you guys know, all of you out there, Right Turtle are your defending champions. They won the September main event, and they were the number 5 seed. And the only time they won another 10K other than last month was the time they were the number 5 seed. We actually went into detail about that in our last month's predictions and breakdown video. So just remember, Right Turtle, they're 2 for 2 in championships when they're a 5 seed. They have been a 5 seed 1 or 2 other times, and they didn't end up winning. But the times they did win, which has been 2, they've been a number 5 seed. So look out for them once again. Plus, they're defending champs. You got to put some respect on their name. But continue moving on here. We've got the Innovators at number 7. They've actually really made some progress, not just from last month to this, but I mean, if you go back 2 months, just the improvements that this team has made, especially with class and silhouette, just what they've been doing has just been eyeball material. If you've been following the scene for the time being, just Innovators, great work from them. Number 8 seed, we have Bella Ciao Ciao Ciao. Ciao, by the way, can mean hello or goodbye in Italian. That is coming from an actual Italian, so if any of you out there did not know that, I know a lot of people just know it as goodbye. It can also be a greeting as hello. But Bella Ciao, they've made it into number 8. We'll talk a little bit more about them here in a second when we get to our matchups. And then the bottom 8 seeds. Number 9, Empire of the Sun, another team that's starting to make some improvements, although not in the same capacity as the Innovators, but still, nonetheless, they have made some improvements. Number 10 will be Lagger Esports. Rock Soldier is the only remaining member of this squad from the original Lagger Esports team when they signed with them through Rogue Company, but we're hearing talks that he actually won't be playing, and the other three will be looking for a sub for this weekend. We saw that courtesy of a tweet on the timeline just today, actually. Number 11, Forcible Finch. They kind of bounced around, had some good broadcast matchups, but ultimately they couldn't get higher than 11. 437 EU, the number 12 seed. They're possibly a little bit of a sleeper out there. They've been making some moves. That's a roster with Kazaki, incredible Geo, I think is how you pronounce his name, or their name, excuse me. So they've been sticking together and sticking it out. Tyken's on that squad as well, making some good things happen for themselves. Number 13 seed will be Rogue is Good. Number 14 seed will be the Duo +2. Number 15 will be the Hefty Rogues. And then the number 16 seed is actually a team called Fix Aim Assist. They had to go through a 4-team tiebreaker on Wednesday evening to determine who would get that 16 spot, and it will be Fix Aim Assist. That's kind of like a catch-22, you know. You win and you lose. You get into the 10K if you win that tiebreaker, but you have to face Just Us first overall. All right, so let's talk about our matchups that we're going to be getting here as I try and slip back on screen here. I got the headset this time, by the way. New broadcast headset finally came in the mail, so I don't have to worry about, holding a handheld mic can hold I only have one page of notes for this video, so I guess it's a lose-lose situation. Anyways, oh goodness, with the weather pointing again. Just Us versus Fix Aim Assist. I'm just gonna walk off screen. You guys can hear me. All right, so we got Just Us versus Fix Aim Assist, Bella Chow versus Empire of the Sun, Right Turtle versus 437 EU. That's actually an EU on EU matchup. Sweet Moose versus Rogue is Good. That will be the left side of the bracket for the first round in the winner's bracket to start things off here on Saturday. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Brave Penguin versus the Duo +2, Gotti the OG versus Forcible Finch, the Innovators versus Lagger Esports, Gaming Gorillas versus Hefty Rogues. All right, let's talk about our faves and sleepers because I kind of gave them up by putting them on the screen already. So there they are. Favorites to win, of course, Right Turtle, a top 2 team for the good portion of the past year now. I mean, we're in the 10th month of 2021, which, by the way, is just seems insane when you think about it. I mean, 2020 was a blur at this point, and so was this year, I guess. But Right Turtle, for the good portion of the majority of this year, have been right up there with Just Us, or AKA the Cute Hamsters when they were under that name. But Right Turtle are your defending champions, so you got to put some respect on their name, even though they're a number 5 seed once again. And they had a tough matchup against Just Us, actually, in Week 1's qualifier. They ended up falling. They took them to 3 games, though, but unfortunately, they couldn't beat them out to try and get that number 1 seed. Just Us, of course, yes, they are a favorite once again. They're the number 1 seed. But we'll get a little bit more in depth about how they are falling from their typical favoritism spot, I guess you could say. And then we have Gaming Gorillas again. They come in for the 2nd straight month as the number 2 seed. They fell to Just Us in the finals of qualifier week number 1, but still, this is a strong roster. And when we talk about Justice, we'll explain why this roster will get just a little bit stronger. And then we have Sweet Moose as our final favorite. This is a team that is just, again, when we get into our roster talk here in a second, oh my goodness, this team is looking good. I mean, they came in with Canny, Who's That, Hizzy, and Nash. I think Nash was just subbing in for that weekend, or a week or two during their broadcast match, which was the qualifier week 2, which, by the way, they had to play a lot of matches on broadcast, so props to them for being able to stick it out for that long on broadcast. And then they're bringing in 2 new players for Hizzy and Nash, so we'll talk about that here in a second as well. All right, let's take a look at our sleepers. We have the Innovators, Gotti the OG, Brave Penguin, and Empire of the Sun. Innovators, Empire of the Sun. Talked a little bit about them while we were talking about the standings. Both of them making huge improvements. Innovators just a little bit ahead of them when it comes to how far or how much improvement they've actually made. I mean, Empire of the Sun on the same track as them, just can't find enough wins to get them really high up in the standings, unlike the Innovators, who have been making some plays. I don't know if they've had some pretty easy matchups early on in these brackets, but I mean, looking on paper, they look pretty easy, but they've had to claw their way up to that number 6 seed, just barely missing out or on that number 7 seed, excuse me, just barely missing out on making a top 6 seed, which is, of course, a finals-worthy bracket for them. Gotti the OG, this is a roster that is not the greatest, but it has some really great players that have proven themselves very deep into main bracket territory in the past. We'll talk about that here in a second as well. Brave Penguin, of course, you know, when we get to roster talk, we'll talk about why they are kind of a sinking ship at the moment, but still got to put some respect on them as well. They're the console demon squad that came in and made some plays, and they won qualifier week number 2 against Sweet Moose at that. So, you know, you got to love. It's very tough when you are, you know, watching teams make easy mistakes that they could have just fixed, and they lose the game because of that. Just adjustments on the fly is the problems that they had. And sometimes that can be the death of a team. I'm just kidding. I'm just memeing you guys out there. I love you. I love you. You know who I'm talking about. Also, thank you so much. We're going to talk about some rosters here in a second, but thank you so much to everybody that reached out to me via DM on Twitter or on Discord for some help, giving me some helpful info. You know, even if it's just a rumor, it does help, because that's, you know, basically esports and sports in general. We take rumors and we just speculate about them, and then that's how we build stories, because we have nothing else better to do but to tell you some bull crap. So let's get on with it. Let's go to the next one here. We're taking a look at these rosters. All right, so the top is the rosters that they originally played the qualifiers with, and then at the bottom are some moves that have been made. All right, so just us. First team we got to talk about. We know them as Delana, Frag, Gronky, and Ink, but guess what, people? Ink no longer on that squad. I think some things went down in scrims, and they lost some scrims to some people and were not happy about it, made some roster changes. I mean, scrims aren't the end of the day in my mind. You know, it's a place to practice. It's a place to lose, right? Tournaments are a place to win. Scrims are a place to lose. That's how I think about it. But Delana, Frag, Gronky still on that lineup. Ink taken out. They, I guess, were there's actually a bunch of names floating around about who their 4th is going to be. It's been confirmed that they haven't even confirmed their 4th yet, and they will do so tomorrow on Friday, the day before the tournament. I guess they have some more tryouts to do. So one of the first names that popped up as one of those names floating around that they could pick up was Bop, who's played with Gronky and Frag before, but at the same time, I don't think Bob can play, right? Or he's unwilling to. I don't know what the whole deal is, but we've been told that he won't be playing. So I guess Frag hinted at it. It might be Bob once or twice in the past. People have said, or that's the hints that they were getting, but it won't be Bob. Bob won't be in there most likely. And I don't think that it would actually be a good move. Bob's been out of the competitive scene for a little bit. He did make a little resurgence there for 1 week, I believe, but it didn't go so well towards the end. But I love Bob, great player, just been gone for way too long. Another name that's popped up is Hizzy. Hizzy's also popped up. Exclusive has also popped up in there as well. I think they were going with the Hizzy originally, but then they changed to Exclusive. And now I'm hearing rumblings that they are going to have a tryout with Corrupt on Friday. So they will make a decision after they try out Corrupt. Corrupt, if you don't know, used to play with Pix and Ink, I believe, back in the day. I think Spring Hour was the other player on that team. I could be wrong. Can't remember off the top of my head on the fly. There's been so many players that have come and gone, and everyone moves around every month, every week, actually. So we'll see who they actually decide to go with. I think any of these would be a good choice. I think the best course of action would probably be Exclusive. That takes some of that pressure off of Frag to be that finite sniper, right? Because, well, he is the sniper on this team, and when they've strayed away from it, he's had to play a lot of things that he sometimes does not look comfortable on. So if they bring in Exclusive, he can play those snipers if Frag needs to play those other things like Dahlia, Anvil, you know, things of that nature. And you can give that Phantom or that Runway to Exclusive. Plus, Exclusive has been playing pretty insane this month, right? Like, one of the top performers for this month in my eyes. Some other notable things that are happening roster-wise, Gaming Gorillas are the ones who scooped up Ink, right? They dropped Rugi for Ink, which I think is an upgrade, but I also feel really bad for Rugi. Rugi was one of the top performers, if not the top performer for Gaming Gorillas in day 2 of the main event in September. So that's kind of disappointing to me that Rugi is going to be taken out there. But we are hearing some things that Rugi will be replacing someone on a different team here. I can't remember exactly who it was, but I think it would be on either Gotti the OG or someone else up there in the top team. So if Rugi does find a spot in there, that'd be amazing. Also, another player that is probably still in the bubble that could show up and play. Some people have said that Gotti might play for someone this weekend, but that's still unconfirmed, and who it would be is also up in the air. So we could see Gotti and Rugi make some moves to get on some rosters for this weekend as well. But Inc. will be playing with Gaming Gorillas from what we know right now, which means Fank, Cool Picks, and Inc. will be that roster. That looks pretty deadly. Gaming Gorillas just, I think, improved themselves. Not that Rugi was a non-improvement to them, but Inc., of course, deadly, except for with grenades. Not very good with the grenades in their hand. Gotti the OG, that's who it is. Exorism, or Zorism, I guess, is what he'd like to be called, which, by the way, is ridiculous. That's Exorism. Come on, how cool is that? Exorism. Anyways, Zorism is being replaced by Rugi. That's what I've been told, but I just said if that does happen, cool. If it doesn't, Forcible Finch are losing exclusive, obviously, because, or potentially, if exclusive does end up playing for Just Us, or it could be Corrupt or Hizzy again. So, also, there is some talks that they're going to go with. There was also not some talks that they are going to go with, but going back to that Justice conversation, there was actually another rumor that was kind of floating around that Hizzy would replace Inc., but then Frag felt like he wanted to quit, so then exclusive would take that. So then it would be Delana, Gronky, exclusive, and Hizzy. So that would be interesting. I think that actually drops them down a little bit. No disrespect to those players, but Frag being in there, that's a three-man team with some chemistry that has been built up for a very long time. So just replacing one player is much easier to manage than replacing two. Then Brave Penguin. They've made some moves. Well, actually, Sweet Moose are the ones who made moves. They dropped Hizzy and Nash, picked up swap outs, and Sin Made from Brave Penguin. That's a little bit of tampering, I guess you could say right there, right? Or not so much tampering, but kind of the steal of the decade, I would say. The two best players from Brave Penguin get stolen. That leaves Billiams and Soka by themselves. They've got to find two replacements. Just saying this, but Rugi's out there, and I'm pretty sure Hizzy's available as well. Maybe even Nash wants to pull up and try and become a demon with Billiams and Soka. We'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much the juice of the changes coming out. I mean, other than that, there might be a couple other changes that are coming through, but nothing, of course they are big deals, but just not as juicy as what we just discussed. So let's move on. Let's take a look at my predictions. That's right. We're not even going to look at the bracket because we technically already did. Let's just go straight to the predictions. All right. We've got Brave Penguin versus the Duo +2. I've got them winning this matchup. I just said they lost their two best players, but they can still pull a win first round, I believe, against the Duo. Plus, the Duo +2, Nemes and Modulus, they're kind of, like, in my eyes, the best two players on this team, but really the roles that they play are really just, oh, this team needs a fill for this week, let me play for them, and they do enough to get them into that main bracket or do enough to score them some heavy points that week of qualifiers, but they haven't really proven themselves as main event monsters at the moment. So I don't think they can take out Brave Penguin, especially if Brave Penguin, the only way this goes wrong is if Brave Penguin picks up two players that just cannot handle themselves in main events. But who knows? Maybe Modulus will pull up and play with Brave Penguin and say, I'll fill for you guys against the team that I'm supposed to play for. No worries. Next up, we got Gotti versus Forcible Finch. I've got Gotti the OG winning this. Again, I think Rixie and Joker have proven themselves on main event stages thus far in these 10Ks, so I think that they'll do well enough to get themselves into the next round. No exclusive, which was the best performing player for Forcible Finch this month. is going to really hurt Finch as well. And plus, Gotti left qualifier 3 without playing the finals, like I mentioned before. So we don't really know how well they would have done against a team like Right Turtle of that caliber. So maybe Finch pulls this out, but with losing exclusive, if that's a possibility, plus on the other side you have Rixie and Joker, main event monsters. They've proven that they are. They've made it very deep into brackets already in these main events. So I've got Gotti the OG taking it over them. Innovators versus Lagger Esports. Innovators, again, moving up and up and up. They are on the rise. Man, if there was a chart, they'd be in the green. They'd have a green arrow. They'd be going up. Only after this tournament this weekend will I be able to determine if they're still on the rise or going down. They could even not make top 6 and still be on the rise, kind of. So we'll see. I mean, they're doing really good. Rock Soldier, again, the only player left from that original Lagger Esports squad, but apparently he won't be there, so that kind of hurts Lagger. He's a good leader, and he's been through this before. And also been through this before, also joining Lagger, is Gorilla, right? And I think that's the best player on the team. I just think that he along with some other players in the scene have the same problem. I mean, Just Us are one of them. They start to scrim that I've heard, but a lot of teams, they just don't take it as serious. They don't practice as much, and I think that kind of hurts them. I mean, look at Just Us. They really started to lose a grip on being that #1 team, and they're not the defending champions anymore. You know, when they lost earlier this year in the summer, they lost to Right Turtle in a 10K. They started grinding. They came back with a vengeance. They ended up blowing the competition out of the water. And then I guess they kind of relaxed again, and now they might come back with a vengeance again. But Ink's not there, so we'll see how it goes. And then we have Gaming Gorillas versus Hefty Rogues. Gorillas, they added Ink. Enough said there. And Hefty Rogues, pretty unknown Rogue players at this point, but we'll see how well they do. It's really not whether they win or lose. It's actually how many rounds they take off of Gaming Gorillas. That'll really be what I'm looking at from Hefty Rogues. What can they do against a really good team out of Gorillas? But of course, I've got Brave Penguin versus Gotti the OG, and then the Innovators versus Gaming Gorillas. I think that Gotti, again, they have enough to win, especially in such a weak side bracket. No disrespect to anyone out there. We'll take a look at the other side of the bracket. It's kind of war. We did look at it there very early on for those first rounds, but when it gets pretty deep, it gets very hard for me to predict who's going to win, of course. But I think Gotti the OG is going to take out Brave Penguin here. Brave Penguin losing their 2 best players. I think they have enough to get past Duo +2 with just Billiams and Soka, but I don't think it'll be enough to get past Rixie and Joker. And the other 2 that Gotti the OG will be coming in with. Innovators versus Gaming Gorilla. Yeah, this one was tough in my head. It's not very tough on paper. I like the Innovators. I like the stuff they're doing. I like the improvements they're making, but we're going to go with Gaming Gorillas, of course. And then I've got Gaming Gorillas beating Gotti the OG. I think Ink is really going to help this roster propel themselves to that next level. But let's talk about the other side of the bracket here. You can see me on screen. We've got Just Us versus Fix Aim Assist. Bella Chow versus Empire of the Sun. Right Turtle versus 437 EU. Sweet Moose versus Rogue is good. All right, so Justice versus Fix Aim Assist. I mean, Justice is still Justice, even without Ink. That's 3 very strong players, 3 of the best players in the game currently, and have been for a very long time at this point. And then Fix Aim Assist, there's some players on there. Cell, Galaxy Haitian, they've been around the scene for a while. They've proven that they do have some skill sets, but I just don't think, I mean, you had to fight just to get into this tournament. I don't think you have it in the gas tank to do anything against Justice, so I got Justice taking that matchup pretty easily, actually. Bella Chow versus Empire of the Sun. Bella's kind of that team that just floats around in the middle all month, right, through the qualifiers. They kind of got pretty deep into the tournaments, but then when it was down to like the best teams remaining, they kind of just fell off the boat. So they're kind of just like a buoy out there in the water. They're floating there. They're not going anywhere, but they're really not going anywhere, if you know what I mean, right? Empire of the Sun has been improving like the Innovators, like I mentioned a couple times already, just not at the same capacity or the same rate, I guess. But I think this squad is really going to be able to take it to Bella Ciao and easily. I'm predicting this to be like a 3-1 at the most. Could be a 3-0, but no disrespect to Bella Ciao, but ciao ciao into the first round for you. Turtle versus Right Turtle versus 437 EU. This is an interesting matchup, actually, because if both teams agree to play on the EU servers, because they're all EU players, it might be a best of 5 that goes 5 or 4, right? I don't expect this to be just a 3-0, and if it is a 3-0, I'm expecting a demo to be like 8-7. I really think 437 EU could give Right Turtle couple jabs. I don't think they can beat them, but I do think that they can stretch this out for as long as possible, and Right Turtle still comes out on top. Plus, they're the defending champs. 437 EU making some big improvements themselves, especially if they keep sticking together like that. Sweet Moose versus Rogue is good. Well, Moose just added Sid Maid and Swap Outs, the 2 console demons, so there's that. Also, Rogue is good is another case of players we barely know, right? Like, we do know who they are. It's just we don't really know who they are because they don't really make it to main events as often. They don't make it as deep into brackets. We've seen them a couple times before, so it just depends on how well they will be playing against Sweet Moose. Really determines how well I can gauge their future in this scene, I guess you would say. So I've got Just Us beating Empire of the Sun. I think that one actually can go 4, maybe even 5. I think Empire of the Sun has what it takes to push Justice to the edge. I just don't think that they have what it takes to beat them, especially when Justice is going to be coming in with a new 4th. Yeah, there's going to be some chemistry and some strategic problems there, but at the same time, you can't really VOD review too much because only 3 of them will be there. Maybe even 2 if Frag feels like quitting. Right Turtle versus Sweet Moose. This is a tough one. I've got this one going all 5 games. I got it being a very long, tiring set for both teams. I got it being a grinder. I think Sweet Moose might be able to upset Right Turtle, but for the time being, I'm going to go with Right Turtle just for the defending champion respect. Just Us versus Right Turtle. I got Right Turtle beating him. I think that Right Turtle's got their number. I think Justice is kind of in their own sort of, I don't want to say shambles, but they've kind of dug themselves a hole, especially losing Ink and not being able to pick a 4th until the very last minute, being Friday night, Friday afternoon even. I think Right Turtle's, they're licking their chops right now. It's basic. They're licking their lips, and they've got the knives and forks out ready to eat. All right, so let's talk about the losers bracket. I wasn't going to make an actual graphic with all of this because that is so many things I would have to do. So I'm sorry if this looks like crap, but it's legible. That's the important part. All right, Fix Aim Assist versus Bella Ciao down there. First matchup in the losers bracket. I got Bella Ciao coming up on top. So there's some redemption for you, Bella Ciao. 437 EU is going to beat Rogue is good. The Duo +2 will lose to Forcible Finch. And Lagger Esports will get a win this tournament. And it'll be against Hefty Rogues, the team that we barely know. All right, going into the next round, Innovators. They will take down Bella Ciao. So I'm sorry again, Bella Ciao. No disrespect. Just don't think that you're at the same level as the Innovators at this time. Brave Penguin will lose to 437 EU. Again, Brave Penguin, you got a tough order, right? All of a sudden, you were these console demons with Billiams and Soka, and you guys made it to the top of the mountain. You were the winners of qualifier number 2. You're the number 3 seed. And then just as quickly as you rose, you fell. Your 2 best players got sniped off your team. That's something that's got to be a gut punch. It hurts. So I don't have you beating 437 EU, which is a 4-man squad that has stuck together for quite some time, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. Sweet Moose versus Forcible Finch. I've got Sweet Moose winning that pretty easily, actually. Forcible Finch has not had a good showing against some top teams in the qualifiers. I actually believe they got 2-0'd by 437 EU in week 3 in the quarterfinals. So Sweet Moose would hand it to 437 EU. So when we talk about Forcible Finch versus Sweet Moose, I'm expecting a 2-0. It is best of threes down there, so 2-0, 3-0 is the equivalent of each other. Empire of the Sun versus Lager Esports. Lager, I think, has the better mechanical skilled players with Gorilla. Actually, scratch that. That's the only one I can think that would be better than anybody on Empire of the Sun. But, again, doesn't grind the game as much. I love Ghost, or Gorilla now. I love him, you know. Played Paladins console, so he's one of the OGs that I love and respect. But Empire of the Sun, I think they've got it in them. They're going to take out Lager Esports pretty easily at that as well. Innovators versus 437 EU. I've got Innovators making it pretty deep into this bracket. They're eventually going to lose to Just Us. I don't think they're at that level quite yet. They might be able to steal one game away from them, but the problem with the Innovators against teams like Justice is they know what they need to do. They're just not able to execute it the way they need to, right? So, like, they go in there onto lockdown against Justice in the past or other top teams, and they're like, all right, they love Dahlia. We've practiced without Dahlia. Let's ban Dahlia. They love Dahlia on lockdown. They're really good on lockdown. We need to get some defensive rounds. They get 1 or 2 defensive rounds. That's strike 1. Strike 2. Their comps are terrible. When they know that there's no Dahlia, their attack looks like a defensive comp. Their defensive comp looks like an attacking comp. They got to figure something out, and they got to do it fast. Hopefully they have in these last couple of weeks because they've made some improvements. But when they go up against Justice, they've got to make it perfect if they want to be able to beat them and make top 4, actually. But I got Justice winning that for the time being. Sweet Moose versus Gotti the OG. I think Sweet Moose pulls this out. I think Sweet Moose has got it in him. I really like this Sweet Moose team. 2 console demons and 2 players in Canny, and who's made 3rd place so many times, especially Canny. I think that they can pull this out. I do have bad news for them, though, because they're going to beat Justice, which means they're in top 3. But I just want you to say, Blue, I hate you. P.S. Canny. Because, and here's why. I need to click on that 1 second. Because I got you guys losing to Right Turtle. Yes, that's right. I've got Gaming Gorillas beating Right Turtle. Actually left that out of the graphic. All right, anyways. Right Turtle is going to lose to Gaming Gorillas, right? Here's why. It's a simple mathematical equation. Right Turtle, in every 10K that they have played and played very well, right? So basically all the ones they've finished top 2. They've always had a round. Mostly it's been against Justice or another team that contended for the championship at that current moment. They always had a round where, like, they just do terrible. So if they lose to Gaming Gorillas in the winners finals, I'm thinking that's it. That's the one they do bad in, because they're going to come back after beating Sweet Moose to the grand finals. They're going to beat Gaming Gorillas to reset the bracket, and then they're going to win and be the back-to-back champions, right? Which is believable. Here's the thing, though. Let me come on screen for this, because this is very important. This is very important. I love Right Turtle. I love Gaming Gorillas. I love Justice. I love Sweet Moose. I love all of you, okay? Even if you don't play in the scene, I love you too. But I need you to understand the fact that last month in the video, I said Justice was going to beat Right Turtle in the grand finals and win the championship, and the exact opposite happened. So, maybe I really think, where is it? Maybe I really think Gaming Gorillas are going to win the championship, and I did this because I know what's going to happen after whatever I say. Or maybe I actually think Right Turtle is going to win. You guys can all decide that in the comments below. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, I don't put that at the beginning of the video because I'm not a good YouTuber, so there's that. But yeah, Right Turtle beating Gaming Gorillas after coming back from the losers bracket and then resetting the bracket. That's my prediction. Losers bracket, we went through it. Went through the winners bracket as well. Couple breakdowns happening there. By the way, 20.37% is the highest pick rate for any rogue in King of the Hill and demo through the month of October. It's actually Dahlia. And remember, 25% is the maximum. So 20% is very close to that maximum. Dallas was right behind her as well with 19.87%. So Dallas and Dahlia, the Double D combo, doing very well this month, and very high pick rates there. But I want to know what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to win the championship here for the October $10,000 main event, brought to you by CheckmateGaming.com? And of course, my name's Real Blue. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at realBluTV2, because my original account is still suspended due to Paul McCartney and a DMCA. So I love you for that, Paul. Thank you so much. It's not his fault. It's Universal Music Group. Whatever. I'm out.
Oh, hello there. It's Blue. I'm a terrible dancer, so ignore that version of me on the screen and listen to my voice when I say thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, click on another video of mine. I heard you'll like those over there. They're pretty good.